The process though. First of all, if your bolt's locked back, it's not gonna work. Close the bolt, okay? This pin right here is your takedown pin, your rear takedown pin, okay? We're gonna push that and pull that pin out. Rifle breaks in half, okay? From here, we're gonna take the charging handle, pull it back as far as it can, pull the bolt out. The charging handle is gonna drop down and pull out, okay? It's got these two little tabs on it that fit into two little slots in the top of the receiver, so that when we put this back in, it's gonna be push in and then find those tabs to put it in. Because if you put in just straight in like this, it's gonna get stuck, okay? So once we pull that apart, I usually take the upper and lower receiver apart, so we take both pins and pull them. With this, we can set aside. This we wanna clean out, okay? My favorite cleaning tools is a brush to get in there and popsicle sticks. Popsicle sticks with a t-shirt are awesome for cleaning guns because I can literally take a popsicle stick, jam it in there. It's wooden, so you're not scratching anything with metal. They're cheap and plentiful, so I just have a whole bag of popsicle sticks in my, if it breaks, I just toss it, right? And you grab another one. But we want to get all that gun cleaned out in there. A little bit of spray into the chamber to make sure the chamber's clear is good. A CLP spray or something like that is a good thing to use. The lower receiver doesn't need a whole lot of maintenance. I just wipe this down. I check the trigger, okay? So there's a couple of spots in the trigger you want to check. You want to check the springs to make sure there's no springs coming out of there. I've had springs break before. The trigger's going to start to malfunction at that point. If you start having trigger problems, a lot of times we need to put a little bit of grease right here where that catches on the sear and the disconnector, okay? So we want to put a little grease on there just to make sure everything runs smoothly. Any place where you see raw metal, grease is a good thing, okay? You can look down in there if you see a lot of crap in there build up, or pieces of metal or anything like that. Primers can blow out if you have bad ammo and blow out into there. That can cause malfunction, so we just want to make sure that's clear. It doesn't need a whole lot of oil or anything like that. You can spray it with some CLP in there, clean it out, but that's going to drip down into your trigger or out of the bottom of your receiver as well. So that's all done. The main thing that you need to clean, upper receiver, and then your bolt and your charging handle. So these are what get really dirty, okay? The charging handle's simple. Wipe it down. Wipe down the inside. It's clean, okay? You can see the crap that came off of it. The bolt and the carrier. So this is called a bolt carrier group, okay? It's what makes up all the things that operate in the upper receiver. So we just wipe down the outside of this, and then we're gonna break down the bolt carrier group. So how we break it down is a really simple process. You need a little something like this. This is your firing pin retaining pin. So you get in here and we pull that out, okay? That will always come in from the left side and come out to the left side, all right? Once we pull that out, tip up the bolt, the firing pin falls out. You can see how gunked up this is. Okay, I've probably got about 1,000 rounds on this since it was new, so probably got about 1,000 rounds on this. We wipe down the firing pin and we inspect the firing pin. So things that we're looking for on the firing pin. The tip up here can break, okay? The whole firing pin can shear off, but that's pretty rare. Where I usually see is the tip up here will break or get rounded. If you're using certain ammos, some of the steel case, hard primers, that can happen. Not very often, but this is one of those things that I keep and I switch out every 15,000 rounds or so. Once we got that out, now we want to take this cam pin right here and rotate it 90 degrees, so like that. So here's where it will be normally. And it's a rectangular, so there's an elongated side. So we rotate that 90 degrees and pull it straight up, like so. And you can see it's filthy, okay? Then we pull the bolt out. This is all the parts of it, okay? It's 5 parts. So we're gonna wipe down the bolt. We want to inspect the bolt for any wear, anything that's breaking on it, and the gas rings. So the gas rings are right here, okay? There's 3 of them. You don't need to worry about lining them up or anything like that. They're gonna work how they're supposed to work. If there's missing a gas ring or one's broken, you need to replace them. They're really simple to replace. Look at the teeth on the front of this bolt and make sure none of them are missing or broken off or cracked or anything like that, okay? Also look at your extractor right here. There's a little hook on the side that hooks onto the brass case, which I don't have a casing right here. I do. So after you fire, that hooks onto there and it pulls that spent casing out of the gun. Those can crack. They can chip off edges just because of wear and tear, right? It's a metal piece. So inspect the bolt. If you see anything broken, you want to replace that. The cam pin is one thing that does break from time to time. I've had several of them break on me. It's not a super common thing, but it's probably just about as common as the firing pin breaking. So this we want to clean off. We want to make sure that any areas that are, again, raw metal, we lube up, okay? And then usually what I'll do is I'll take my t-shirt with a popsicle stick, jam it in there, wipe all that out. They do make tools, and I actually really like the tool that you jam in there. It's like a metal tool that it reams out the inside, so if you get some heavy carbon buildup on the inside of the bolt, that'll clean it out. That's a good thing to use. So then once we get this wiped out, cleaned up pretty well, again, it doesn't take a whole lot of work. It doesn't have to be spotless unless you're that type of person that wants it spotless every time. That's okay, that's not me. I want mine usable, okay? So once we've got this done, here's what I do to lube it up, okay? So I'm gonna put a little bit of lube on the bolt, and we don't want a lot of oil on this. I just want a little bit to coat it, okay? Wipe it down with my fingers, slide it into place. Now, this bolt should only take the cam pin one way, all right? And what that looks like from the front of the bolt is like this. So you're gonna have the extractor on the top right corner up here, because it's pulling out of the extraction port. The ejector is this little plunger. It's gonna be on the bottom left corner, all right? When you look at the top of the bolt, you can see the little hole right here. That's where the cam pin's gonna slide into. If this is backwards, there is also a little hole, but this should not go in there. I say should not because I've got a friend who had it happen to him, and there's a hilarious video on the internet of him shooting a competition, and all of his rounds are extracting into the rifle instead of out of the rifle, which results in him saying a lot of dirty words and digging at it with a knife, okay? So this rotates this way. I lube up this pin well, okay? I want this to be well lubed because this is constantly rotating every time you pull the trigger. So we want good oil on that. Drop that in, and it's only gonna go in with the that rectangle where it's at a perpendicular angle to the rest of the bolt. Then we rotate that the 90 degrees again to there. From here, you don't really need to lube up the firing pin. We drop that straight in from the back here. That goes in. We put the firing pin retaining pin back in here. Make sure all that goes back together. Now the bolt's back together, all right? One thing you can do to check your gas rings is you want to stand the bolt up or the bolt carrier group up on the bolt, and if it just falls through, that's a problem. That means your gas rings probably need to be replaced, all right? There should be some resistance to this. Those are the gas rings inside here holding it together. Once we have this done and we have our upper receiver cleaned up, we're gonna lube the bolt itself, and this is really simple. There's a couple of spots that have wear, and it's kind of hard to see this because it's got a nickel boron finish, but you can see up here and here there's wear, here and here there's wear, and then on the bottom side there's wear. So this part right here runs on top of the hammer from the trigger. So I like to put a little bit of lube right here, just wipe it down. A little bit right here, right here, right here, right here. Just rub that all over it, okay? I will put a touch back here. There's not a lot of wear that happens on the back of this, but I just want a little bit of oil all over the bolt, okay, or the bolt carrier. With that done, I'm gonna set that off to the side. I'm gonna put a little bit of oil on our charging handle, especially here and here on the tabs, because those are the areas that run inside the grooves of the upper receiver, all right? This will also help you as you're trying to lock it back and whatnot. To put it back together, this goes back in, again, in the big hole, and then just kind of, you can literally run this along here and you'll find that spot that it slides in, and then close it part way, not all the way. Once it's closed part way, this, we wanna make sure that the bolt is fully extended, okay, because right now it's collapsed. We want that out, okay? Swing it out, it's fully extended. Lay that in here. It all closes together, okay? From here, we put this back onto this. close, close, and then we want to function test. To function test this, all we're going to do is we're going to make sure it's clear. This already feels so much cleaner and smoother. It's clear. Pull the trigger, cycle it with the trigger pulled, reset. Does it reset properly? Pull the trigger in, cycle it, make sure the safety works. Okay, safety's work, it's not pulling. Safety's down, it fires, it resets, everything's working properly, the rifle's clean. Okay, that's the process. To go over it again real quick is pop it open, pull this out, clean the upper, clean the lower. Your firing pin, retaining pin comes out, firing pin drops out, rotate your cam pin, pull it out, bolt comes out, clean everything,
oil.
Put this back in, make sure it's lined up the proper way. The cam pin shouldn't go back in, everything lubed up. That goes there, rotate 90 degrees, pull it out, firing pin drops in from the back, retaining pin goes back in. We put this in first, find the tabs, slide this into here, and that is done. Okay, ready to go.